Welcome all. I'd like to open the extraordinary council meeting on Monday the 11th of November 2024. The time is just a little bit after 5 p.m. I apologise for that. Recording and publishing. In accordance with the Local Government Act of 1993, Cowra Council is recording this meeting and will upload the recording to Council's website. By speaking at this meeting, you agree to being recorded and having that recording published in the public domain. Please ensure that when you speak at council meetings, you are respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. Cowra Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this meeting. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Wiradjuri people, and we pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. We have an apology from Councillor Watt. Those of you that didn't see the email late this afternoon, Councillor Watt has sought leave for the entire month of November. She is quite ill. So, could I have someone that knows that? Thank you. Thank Councillor Kiss and Fagan. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Any disclosures of interest? If any councillors and staff, please indicate in relation to any interest you need to declare. A, what report item you are declaring an interest in. B, whether the interest is pecuniary or non-pecuniary. And C, what is the nature of that interest? Nobody? Thank you. We have no presentations. There are no public forums. We will go to item 2, Director of Infrastructure and Operations. He has a suggestion on cemeteries, crematoria, New South Wales Internment Services Levy. Yes, we have. They intend to impose the levy from July, and there's certainly motions on this particular matter at the local government conference next week. But I think we have to have a policy going forward. Certainly we oppose it, and we make no bones about that to everyone we can oppose it to. This is just dead set cost shifting. We get, well, can you have exactly what you just write a letter?
That we make representation to the member for Cootamundra, outlining this levy and the fact that we have not received any information from any response from the Minister for Lands and Property following our letter.
So I need a second. Councillor Downey.
I'll speak to it if you like.
Please.
This is really important. It is a cost shifting, and we've spoken about it before. We've tried to go through the proper channels by local government New South Wales. Excuse my voice. I just got out of my sick bed to come. That we've tried to go through the right channels. We've been to local government New South Wales, and Dirk has sent a response that he actually asked, and I asked him as well. This does not seem to be getting through, and I know that the mayor's going to the JO meeting and seeing the minister on Friday. It will come up, and the country mayor's on Friday, so it will definitely come up as a major initiative of the local government. I just think it's ridiculous, and I think we should be fighting it. And as Bathurst has indicated, they're going to be fighting it. And to make it retrospective is absolutely criminal. I just don't see how they can possibly do that. So I think there'll be a lot of backlash about this, and I believe that we should be really on the front foot and saying that we really disagree with this, and it's one of those things that we just should not pay. I mean, I agree with the fact that we've got to put it in place. I actually agree with what Dirk's put up here, but I do think we should be saying to everyone that listening, and even if they're not listening, we should be discussing it at great length, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot coming out at the end of the week about this from all the other councils in the region, because no one wants to pay. It's an enormous amount of money to put on grieving families who have got, and also my other question is, what happens if the levy is not introduced, and how do we give them their money back if we start charging them?
Through the chair, I should have put that in the email because Councillor Downing asked the same question. We would have records of who had paid it, and we would refund it accordingly.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, that could get very tricky because we're dealing with the states and things. Like, I just think, there is a lot at stake here. But
So
anyway,
to clarify the process, should the recommendation be adopted, the new fee is advertised and implemented. The customers will be charged those line items as a separate item, and council will retain those funds in trust until the Cemeteries and Crematoria New South Wales levy the charges based on our annual report sometime in 2025, probably July or August, something like that. So if it's not implemented, we're in a position to refund any that we've taken.
I mean, I can understand why we're going ahead of the game here, because it's going to be a lot of money if we don't. But it is going to be very messy, and I'd really like to see us strongly advise strongly against this, because I think it's just a money grabbing by the state government, and we've told them that, but nobody seems to be responding. So I think we should ask the Mayor to make sure he's really across it on Thursday and Friday when he's talking to all the other councils and at State Parliament on Friday, which is really important for us. So, but I do think we should implement it, because it's going to make it a lot harder if we don't. But I do think we should be strongly advising everyone that we don't like it and we don't want to pay. And I just think it's criminal. I just think and also the fact that they can make it retrospective is just terrible. I just think, we really need to get some legal advice about whether they can make it retrospective. I think we have to talk to the other councils about that. Probably local government New South Wales will come up with some sort of
Through the chair, just to clarify, I don't think it's retrospective. I think that the advice that we've received is that it's going to be levied from 1st of July 2024, but we pay it based on our annual report that we provide in June 2025. Then they calculate the levy and invoice us in August 2025 for the 24-25 financial year.
Well,
so
we can't can't recoup any of that funding at the end of this year.
To date, no, and that's the point that was made earlier in the piece, was that the timing that we were given was very hard for us to put that into into our advertising period for the long-term for the financial plan, and the fees and charges in particular, which require 28 days.
Well, I'd just like to thank the Director for bringing it to our attention, and I understand why we're doing it, but let's hope it doesn't actually happen and we don't have to charge them. So thank you.
So can I just have this clarified, that is in addition to the recommendation?
Yes,
Yeah,
second
okay.
point.
Anyone else like to speak on? Yes, please, Councillor Downing.
So I've just got some figures which you might be able to use in your meetings on Friday and Thursday. So the Crematorium and Cemetery New South Wales annual activity report for 2023, shows the total number of facilities, cemeteries and crematoria in New South Wales of 1,544, with local government being responsible for 1,017 of those. So it means that 65% of all facilities are actually run by local government. So this is actually a actual money grab by the New South Wales government to be paid by our local ratepayers, and then we have to follow up that with a new levy which affects us and our actual ratepayers, and we have to pass it on to them to be fiscally responsible to so that going forward for our long-term plans. So basically, to bury a loved one or cremate someone in New South Wales, it's going to cost you more money, and that's the CCNSW's doing. So their annual report and their audited financial statements were lodged to Minister Kemper in October 2023 with an annual expense budget of $2,972, which I don't even know what they do with it because we don't have any representation from them. We send them one report per year. So I'm sure the government will be able to balance their books more easily with some money coming in from local government. Their annual report states that this levy has been implemented after much consultation with stakeholders and operators, and the first contact that council has regarding this levy was from Minister Kemper earlier this year when he announced that he was pleased to let us know that it would be implemented. Council at that time wrote to the minister and as Councillor Fagan has said, we haven't had a reply to this date. Their annual report also states there are 97 complaints in 22-23, which is their main objective to handle complaints, with most complaints being about Crown operators. And that was 38.1% of the complaints, and 19.6% were accountable to local government. The Crown operators, it should be noted, they provide the majority of burial services in metropolitan Sydney. So we're paying for that. The total number of internment services in New South Wales for 22-23 was 78,750. So 97 complaints out of that equals a minuscule amount of 0.123174603%. So if it's about complaints and they're trying to raise money so they can manage those, I think they'll be right. So basically this matter is on the agenda for the Local Government New South Wales Conference next week, and I sincerely hope that they are able to lobby the state government to reverse their decision. So it's not an extra burden to carry from grieving families in every LGA that runs a local government cemetery or crematorium.
Would anybody else like to speak on this?
Question, the acting general manager sent me a reply to an email, and you said that, so the $25,000 you mentioned for the report, that's what it will be to pay this levy, or are we already paying $25,000 to them?
The $25,000 was an estimate of the levy that will need to be paid by council in, say, July or August 2025, based on the 22-23 figures. So it's best guess what it's going to cost council.
So has it been legislated yet? It has been.
My understanding is that the new levy is in place since the 1st of July 2024. So we're incurring the charges now, and the recommendation is to put the new fees and charges to recover some of the costs.
The government claims that the increased money they get will go mainly on staff, more staff for the department. So yeah. Okay, anybody else write a reply, Councillor Kiss?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to add actually to what Councillor Downing has mentioned, when we're assured by the Minister that they're only collecting what is necessary to provide the cemeteries and crematoria with the resources they require to protect consumers and manage risks, I would say there must be an awful lot of risks and issues that are happening for that amount of money to be warranted as being that's all that they need. They're not collecting a cent more. So I was quite interested in those figures. I hadn't put them all together myself. I also have to ask whether this will encourage more people to be burying their loved ones on the private land or that land that isn't operated by councils. And also whether it would even be levied if the New South Wales government had to recoup the money directly rather than appearing as an auspice under a council invoice, whether that would have made any difference. But there just seems to be a lot of hidden motives in there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kiss. Councillor Fagan, write a reply.
Just another question, if I could. I presume this levy will be increased each year with rate pegging?
I assume CPI.
I can't answer that at this stage. I haven't had any information about the whether the state government fee would increase annually or not.
Write a reply, Councillor Fagan.
Look, yes, I think this should be we should encourage strongly worded letter to the minister and also to Steph Cook, well, not the minister, but Steph Cook, to say that we're disappointed. I'm also find it's good a point that Councillor Kiss made, that this may actually discourage people from using our cemetery. We may end up with people burying or spreading their ashes all over the place, and we could lose some revenue over this because people will say it's too hard. We won't bother. But you know, I think $156 for an interment is you know, a lot of money for somebody who is. Some of these people cannot afford even the burials, but it'll be a very difficult thing to collect, and I think we definitely need to put it on our invoices that it's a state government levy. I commend the director for bringing it to our attention, and I think that this is a pity that we have to impose it, but we are forced to do this, and I think that's the end of it. But let's hope that they change their minds. I think if all the local government in the New South Wales starts jumping up and down because we're the ones who control the cemeteries, I don't think we should be paying. Yeah. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Fagan. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Thank you. Does anybody have any notice of motions? Okay, I'll declare the meeting closed at 5:21.